Padding, not just a term used to extend a project, but in this case, a lot more padding was added to the corridor of the Millennium Falcon. Meanwhile, more framework was added to the bottom, greatly expanding the size of this ship. What new adventures await us today on this massive build?
Welcome to the Model Frontier. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you don't miss a second of any of my great content. So last time on the Millennium Falcon, we went ahead and we did a little bit more on the frame, but we did a lot more work on the corridors. And this issue, it's going to be more of the same. I'm not going to lie. But I think you're going to like what's coming up in store for this issue. Because we're going to finally start to get a sense of just how big this ship is going to be. So let's not waste any more time. I've chewed your ear off enough already. Let's get on with it. So to start stage 27, we're going to first need this piece of this corridor, which we had from our last issue. And this new piece of corridor we get in this issue. And it's just a matter of matching them up. And then securing them down with 4 of the gold screws that come into this pack. Just like that. And just like with other models, I always like to say that when you're doing screws like this, I always like to do opposite corners, just because you put one in to one corner and then you bring the other one, you get the other side down too, then it's just a matter of getting the other 2 screws in. Just makes it a little easier. Again, that's not something that's a hard and fast rule. It's just for your information, you know what's smart to do. So next we got a couple more pads to put in here. We're only going to be using 2 of them. So if we're looking at the way the instructions have, we're going to be using this pad and this pad. And since they're pretty much obvious to tell, I'm going to take them both off of here. Sorry, I'm wrong. It's this pad and this pad. So I just took the wrong one off, so I'll be setting that one off to the side. There we go, I got those off. And yes, there is absolutely a difference. You can see these 2, they each have this curved side that goes a different way. So I'm going to put that one off to the side for later. And they're going to go in, so you can see how they're going to go in here. They're going to go to the bottom, and the curve is going to, they're going to go in the bottom like that. And just like before, the curve is going to follow the shape here. And obviously we're going to glue those 2 in. Just like that. Now, we got to set this aside because next we're going to be working on the frame. So go get your framework, and I'll meet you back here. So we're here with our framework, and we're focusing on this section of the frame. We got 3 pieces of the hull that are going to go on. BF 30, 31, and 32. And obviously, you can see how they're going to go on, because they just go in a nice triangle just up there into these sections here, and they each get held down with the black screws. So we're going to need 5 of the black screws in total to hold this down. Just like that. Next, we got another one of these radial ribs that we're going to add to it. That'll help the stability on this other side. And again, of course, it's going to get held down with 5 more of the black screws. And there we go with that. Now the last thing we have on this pack is finally going to be, we're going to do something with this jig that we've been getting the pieces for. So go ahead and get all your pieces of the jig and I'll meet you back here and we'll explain what we're going to do with it. So this is a jig. You know, I say I've kind of put mine together. Already I put the 4 parts that we've already got together. It's basically fits together like a big puzzle. These aren't, you know, meant to be hugely stable. They're just meant to help hold the ship, the frame in place. One thing that you want to definitely do is, I'll show you right there, you want to label where each issue is when you get each part of the jig, because the issue doesn't, the pictures in the book are really tough to tell where everything goes. It's just easier to do it this way. So we're going to take the 4 pieces we got from this issue, we got before this issue, and the piece we got in this issue. Obviously, I've already put it on my foam pads. And then when you connect them, it's just a matter of kind of pushing the pieces into the place they go. And again, remember, this is plastic. It's not going to be something you're going to keep after the model's done, so this is one part you don't have to be particularly gentle with. But once you get that on there, you'll be able to take the framework that you've been working on, and it can rest on something so it's not sitting loosely or getting bent or anything. It'll sit somewhat like this, with this section dipping down into the section of the jig. And once that's all done, that is it for stage 27. So here with stage 28, we are going to continue that corridor we started in the last stage. And to continue that, we're going to need this top section that we get in this pack. And we're also going to need the rest of the sprue that we had before. So we got 4 pads in this sprue, and we're going to put them all onto this. So I'm going to start with the 2 biggest ones first. And obviously, again, it's going to be a matter of following the shape of the corridor to glue those in. Once we got those in, we're going to take these 2 thinner sections. We're going to take these 2 sections from the sprue and fit them in. There is only one way they can go. You can see there's slightly more edge on this side than there is on this side. So obviously we're going to keep those just like that. Since it is a thinner piece here, I like to put my glue just on this part. Same thing with this. If we look on the other side, this goes in a very particular way too. So once you got the dry fit, put your glue on here, and then put your part onto it. Just like that. Now we need the part from before, as well as another ring, which you would have already made like I did, because you know you do this a smart way. And we need this ring. Now it's important that we get this fitted right. So the peg hole, we're looking at it, if we're looking at this piece this way, the peg is going to go on the left side of the corridor. So just like that. Then we're going to take this top piece, we're going to fit it on. Put that peg in there, just like that. And then the ring is supposed to hold it in place. Let's see if it does. It does, but I'm not feeling that hold, so I'm going to actually glue that on. There we go. The ring is supposed to be all you need to hold that on, but if you don't feel like it's holding it good, you could definitely put some glue on it. It's not going to hurt anything just to have that little bit of extra security. And yeah, that's in there now. Now the next step they have is they're showing us to basically put this whole section together, which I believe last pack I already kind of did. Nothing's permanently affixed down, but they just want us to see how this is going to look. So I'm going to zoom out the camera a bit here. So if we're looking at our cargo room, this big section is going to fit in kind of like this, or it's supposed to. Yeah, so it's going to fit in sort of like this. It's tough to get to show it because it's not flat. There. So that's going to go in there like that. And then this piece here will go on this end over here like this. So with that much done, and nothing's permanently affixed on these yet, but there's where your corridors are going to look like. That's actually it for stage 28. So stage 29 is all going to be about this piece here. Obviously, you can tell this is the middle ring that the frame is supposed to connect to. So obviously, we need to go grab our frame section. I would recommend bringing it over on its jig because there is a very good reason for that, which you'll see in a minute here once I get my frame over here. So with the jig, it'll be easier to put this in because you want this shape here to be going towards the interior part. There's also an important thing to note. You have a notch here that matches up with this notch here. So we're going to put that in place. Now once we get that in there, it is held in place wherever there's an empty screw hole with a black screw. So from the looks of it, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 black screws to hold this in place. So I'm going to get those screws in off camera so you don't have to sit here and watch this whole set part. And then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when finished. Just like that. Now, a few things that I learned while I was doing this is you do have to kind of position some of these into place because, you know, based on how you're storing your model and based on time, the pieces may not exactly fit the holes. I had a really big problem with this one when because initially as I was just screwing in order, I got to this hole and the screw wasn't going in. I screwed this, I skipped it and screwed the next one down, and it kind of pushed everything on this over. So then this one went down just fine. So sometimes you'll have to do that. You also want to make sure that you get all these radial ribs should go between the two screws. You want them all there, and then you want to bring it all nice and tight together. Once you do that though, that frame is pretty solid, so you're not gonna have it going all over the place now, especially in the middle. And actually with that done, that is it for this stage of the build. So stage 30, we're going to do another part of the frame. This time it's going to go bottom frame 33, 34, and 35. Just going up the line here, as always, we're going to hold it in with the black screws. Just like that. So next we need to take another radial rib and we're going to attach here. Now there's an important distinction. We have this piece here where there's a little notch. You want to make sure that's going under. That's basically catching underneath your central rim. So we're going to hold this in place, obviously, with the black screws. We're going to go from the bottom up. There we go. Now we're going to move the frame off the jig for a minute. We're going to take the piece of the jig we have from this issue and it's going to just connect right to here. Just like that. So you can see the jig is coming together. Obviously, we got one more piece that's going to go in here, but that is it for this stage of the build. So for the final stage of this build, we're going to kind of go in the opposite order they do. Since we left off with here, we're going to finish putting the jig together. So just basically the piece we get in this pack is going to go right here. Once that's in place, the jig is fully assembled. So now with the jig done, we're going to bring our framework back over. We're going to set it back down on the jig. And we're going to continue to build in this section here with the next three pieces, which are BF 36, 37, and 38. going up the line with 6 more black screws. Now they show it going from the inner to the outer. I like working outer to inner. You can do it either way because it's not going to really make a difference. So just do it whichever way works for you. Just like that. And next, of course, we got another radial rib. Again, we want to make sure that the tab goes under the lip of the turret. So, under the lip of the turret here. And then, of course, that gets held down with another 6 black screws. And there we go. So with that done, that is all there is to do in this stage. That's all there is to do in this pack. If we want to pan the camera around here, we can see that we don't have much left of the framework to do, it looks like. You figure each jig maybe is the equivalent of 2 sections of this. So we got maybe 4 more. Well, we can tell. We've got 1 section that's going to go here. So we got 3 more sections of these parts of the frame before the bottom framework is done. So that's kind of promising. Wonder if that means we're going to have that by the end of the next pack. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that, because that's all we get today. So there you have it. I mean, we're starting to see how things are looking as they're coming together. We're starting to see how the corridors are going to fit together inside our ship. We've got the hull frame. The lower hull frame is 3/4 of the way done, and we've assembled the jig that's going to hold our hull in place. You know, when we get to it, when we get to putting the plates on, when we get to actually storing the hull, this is going to hold it for us. So a lot done, but again, this is one of those issues where, you know, you get a lot done, but you don't really do anything major. But that, again, is going to change soon, I have a feeling. Let's see what happens next time. In the meantime, thank you for watching The Model Frontier.